Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's dive right into what is honestly one of the most fascinating realities of human biology. Because right at this very second, there is this relentless, endless workload happening inside of you. We're talking, of course, about the human heart, and specifically the incredible mystery of its endless stamina.
So, let's jump straight into Section 1, the 100,000 beat mystery, a daily biological marvel.
100,000. That is the staggering, almost unbelievable number we're starting with for today's explainer. Your heart beats about 100,000 times a day, and it doesn't just do this on a busy day or, when you hit the gym. It does this every single day for your entire life, without ever stopping to rest. I really want you to just let the sheer volume of that daily workload sink in for a second. Imagine doing 100,000 bicep curls in a single day, and then doing that every day for decades. I mean, it's a physical impossibility for standard muscles.
Which brings us to the central question we're looking at today. How is that even possible when every other muscle in your body gets tired? Think about it. If you run a marathon, your legs give out. If you carry a bunch of heavy groceries up the stairs, your arms start shaking. Literally every other muscle you possess experiences fatigue, burnout, and needs prolonged, deliberate rest to recover. So why doesn't your heart just give out like an arm or a leg?
Let's look at Section 2, the cell's energy factories, the structural secret.
Well, unlike the muscles in your limbs, which have your standard energy supply and get tired pretty easily, your heart muscle cells are built fundamentally differently. They have a totally unique structure that's engineered to resist fatigue almost completely. They aren't just, slightly better at endurance. Their entire biological blueprint is designed so they absolutely do not give up.
And that unique blueprint really comes down to mitochondria. If you remember from biology class, these are the energy factories of the cell. Well, your heart muscle cells are absolutely packed with them. They're present in far higher numbers in the heart than in any other muscle in your body, basically taking up a massive chunk of the cell's physical space. And because of this huge concentration of mitochondria, the heart gets a constant, incredible supply of power. It's working with an entirely different fuel capacity than your biceps or your calves.
Moving right along to Section 3, the mandatory split-second rest. The real secret is timing.
Now, having all that energy is crucial, but the real trick is something called the refractory period. After every single heartbeat, there's this tiny, built-in pause. During this specific window, the heart muscle physically cannot contract again too soon. It is mathematically and biologically impossible for the heart to beat constantly without this gap. It essentially forces a built-in rest between every single beat. So when we're sitting here marveling at the heart beating 100,000 times a day, we kind of also have to marvel at the fact that it's resting 100,000 times a day.
To really put that into perspective, I love this analogy from our source material. It says it's like sprinting for a split second, then getting a mandatory break over and over forever. It's such a brilliant way to visualize it, right? It's a continuous cycle of intense, maximal work, followed instantly by forced total recovery. It never sprints a marathon, it just sprints a millimeter, rests, and repeats.
Let's look at Section 4, nature's automatic pacemaker, the heart's electrical system. So to tie this all together, the heart operates completely independently of your conscious mind. It actually has its own internal electrical system acting as a natural pacemaker that fires signals automatically. It never depends on you actively thinking about making it beat. Could you imagine the mental burden if you had to consciously remind yourself to beat your heart 100,000 times a day? You'd literally never be able to focus on anything else. But biology has just completely removed that burden from your brain.
Watch how this all builds into just a perfect, endless loop. First, the automatic signal fires. Then, the heart contracts using that massive surge of mitochondrial energy. Next, the refractory pause steps in and forces a mandatory rest. And finally, the cycle repeats over and over, even while you're fast asleep. It is the ultimate autopilot system, perfectly executing thousands of times a day without a single glitch.
Which brings us to Section 5, the unnoticed effort, beating while you sleep.
Because at the end of the day, your heart keeps beating even while you sleep, without you ever noticing the effort. While you are totally unconscious, just resting and recovering from your day, this perfect combination of massive cellular energy, that forced refractory rest, and the automated electrical pacing is working silently in the background. It protects you and sustains you, requiring absolutely zero effort or awareness on your part.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought today. As your very own heart takes its mandatory split-second rest right now, what other hidden biological marvels is your body perfectly automating? It really makes you appreciate the absolute machine that is the human body, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay curious, keep learning, and I'll see you for our next explainer.